Hi friends, it's Mrs. Amato here bringing you chapter 18 from Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper. I'd like to thank Atheneum Books and Simon & Schuster Publishing for allowing us to read this material today. Chapter 18. After school that day, I was grumpy and mean. Mrs. V had prepared a new stack of word cards for me. Penny was wearing one of Mrs. V's turbans, and she looked ridiculous. Plus, she kept singing some stupid baby song at the top of her lungs. I took my arm and swept the whole pile of cards to the floor. "Who put salt in your Kool-Aid, Miss Thing?" Miss V asked. She did not pick up the cards. Penny stopped singing and stood there blinking at me. I switched the Medi-Talker to off and looked away. "Fine, be like that, but you're going to pick up every single one of these cards." I stuck out my lip and stared at the wall. Penny reached out, shook my arm. I tugged it loose. She didn't seem to care and started singing again. "Happy, happy, happy, clap your feet. Happy, sappy, pappy, blow your nose. Biddy, body, bowdy, jump and jump." She jumped. She stomped her feet. Then she sang the song again and again. She was getting on my nerves. I wish she would just shut up. Talking all the time, walking all the time, jumping and bouncing and singing. Quit it. For 1 minute, stop. Please stop. But she wouldn't. "Hi, Dee Dee," she said. She put her doodle on my tray. I pushed the toy to the floor. "Doodle, Dee Dee." She picked up the stupid, raggedy thing and placed it on my tray once more. I knocked it off. "Leave me alone," I wanted to scream. Penny was used to things falling off my chair, so she couldn't know I was just being plain horrible. The third time she put doodle on my tray, I swept it off with such force that my arm brushed Penny's head. She toppled over and fell to the floor. She looked at me, surprise in her face, grabbed her doodle, and ran to Mrs. V in tears. "What's gotten into you, Melody?" Miss V asked as she rocked Penny. How could I explain? I didn't want to cry, but I did. I turned my wheelchair so it faced the wall just as the phone rang. Miss V looked from me to the phone, sighed, and got up to answer it. "Oh, hello, Catherine." "Catherine?" I turned my chair slightly to listen. "Out of sorts?" Mrs. V asked. "Well, as a matter of fact, she does seem a little bit mopey this afternoon." "No, I take that back. She's downright monstrous." Mrs. V caught my eye and made a funny face at me. I just glared at her. I'm not surprised she got all the questions right. The child is brilliant. A lot of good it does me. The teacher said, "What?" Great. Now everybody would know. Just thinking about it made me feel like pond scum again. In front of her classmates? What kind of professional is he supposed to be? Mrs. V looked furious. How did she react? Never mind. I already know. She's sitting here looking like one of those blowfish we saw at the aquarium, all puffed up and spiny. That's actually kind of close to how I felt. "Thanks so much for calling, Catherine," Miss V said. "Yes, please, call her parents this evening, and I'll be sure to talk to them as well. I'm going to work on this problem right now." With that, she hung up the phone, set Penny down on the floor, put her hands on her hips, and turned and looked at me. I figured here's where she hugs me and makes me feel better. "So, you aced the quiz and then bombed the follow-up," she said to me, indignation decorating her words. She flipped my talker back on. Why did she sound mad at me? I looked up in surprise. "He hurt my feelings," I answered. "So what?" Miss V spat back. Kids laughed, even Rose. It was true, though. I could hardly admit it. Even Rose had covered her mouth to stifle a laugh. "Did you get the highest score in the class?" Mrs. V asked, completely ignoring my attempt to make her feel sorry for me. "Yes." "Did Catherine help you in any way? Even a little?" "No." "Then let's get started." "Started on what?" "On your study plan. You and I are going to practice, prepare, and push. I'm going to quiz you, and you are going to answer. We're going to learn geography, science, math, thousands of glorious tidbits of information." She sounded excited. "Why?" I asked carefully. "You know how athletes get ready for the Olympics? They swim early in the morning and late at night. They run around the track for hours and hours without a crowd to cheer them on." "I can't run very fast," I typed. Then I grinned at her. "Maybe not, but you have the fastest, strongest brain in that school, and you're going to try out for the quiz team next week." "They won't let me be on the team," I typed slowly. "Oh, yes, they will. They'll want you all right. They'll need you." "You think?" I know. Now let's cut out all this fake feeling sorry for yourself and get started on studying. We have 1 week. I'm the coach. You're the athlete. Get ready to sweat. Sweat stinks, I told her with a laugh. So let's get stinky. But first, pick up every single one of those cards. I knew not to argue. She took me out of my chair, set me on the floor, and left the room while I pulled the cards that I'd knocked down into a messy pile on the floor. Penny helped. Then Miss V put me back in my chair and we got to work. She was going to be a tough coach. How's the test set up? A, B, C, D. Multiple choice? Wonderful. Piece of cake for you. I wasn't sure about that, but I didn't disagree. She went to her computer and found a web page that listed every U.S. capital and state. Did those in school, I told her. Great, we'll do them again. Oh, I fake groaned. Miss V then looked up the capitals of all the major countries in the world. Gee, there sure are a lot of countries. But once she read them out loud to me, I had the info in my head. What's the capital of Hungary, she demanded. I knew the answer before she even gave me the 4 choices. I pushed D, of course. Miss V didn't stop to cheer. She kept going. I correctly answered Tokyo is the capital of Japan, Ottawa is the capital of Canada, and Bogota is the capital of Colombia. She quizzed me until Dad picked me up. As Miss V stuffed Doodle and some unseen diapers back into Penny's bag, she explained briefly what had happened at school and what she had planned to do about it, what we were already doing. Are you sure, Dad said? Maybe we're setting her up for failure and she'll be hurt even worse. I'm absolutely positive, Miss V insisted. Can Melody stay a little longer to study? You cool with that, Dad asked me. Yes, 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 I typed. I want to do this. Go for it, Melody, Dad said. He gave Miss V a thumbs up sign and left with Penny. After dinner, we moved on to science. Why can't they just call them something easy like the knee bone and the skinny leg bone? But I memorized all of them anyway. I learned that insects are arthropods and that they have tibias too. The study of insects is called etymology, Miss V said. That gave me an idea. Let's learn all the words with ology. I put my hand over my head and pretended to groan, but deep inside I was really jazzed about this. Which word means the study of words and their meanings? A, bibliography, B, archaeology, C, histology, or D, lexicology. I thought for a minute. I knew she was trying to trick me. Histology sounds like history. But for some reason, I think it had to do with the skin. And bibliography has to do with books, not words, so I typed the letter D. This time she did cheer. Let me get you home, Melody. Top athletes need her sleep. I grinned. I was energized at the same time. Miss V had called Catherine and explained the situation, told her to stuff information into my head along with macaroni at lunch. So the next morning, Catherine, of course, jumped right in. While we were in room H5, Catherine hooked me up to my earphones, and I listened to an old audio on volcanoes. It was scratchy and skipped a little, but it gave me information. Volcanoes were named for the Roman god Vulcan. I could have figured that one myself. I found out about lava and ash. I learned about the whole city of Pompeii. Got covered up when Vesuvius erupted. Surprisingly interesting stuff. Info's always good, I typed. I feel you, she replied. Are you still upset about what happened in Mr. Dimming's class? Deleted the memory. Need room for facts. I took the time to type. She gave me a thumbs up. I'm a little scared, I admitted. Suppose I mess it up. You can do this, Melody, she said sternly. You certainly have enough smarts to be on the team. Go away while I take the test, I typed. Keeps Claire quiet. Gotcha, Catherine said. She held up her hand to slap my palm. It wasn't much of a slap, more like a grab, but we're on the same page. Except for lunch and recess, I listened to tapes and worked with Catherine the rest of the day. She quizzed me on facts, dates, kings, math. That might be hard for me. Words float easy into my head, but numbers sink to the bottom like rocks. I don't know why. Let's do it again, Catherine said, gently, as I got mixed up on a math problem about trains and their speed. Nobody rides trains anymore. Who cares? But she kept at it till it made sense. I discovered that if I make numbers into a picture story in my mind, they come easier. I changed the figures into words. Magic. Instead of going out for inclusion classes, I shook my head and told Catherine, I don't want to go. I want to study. And I studied instead. Evidently, I wasn't missed. Nobody sent a frantic message to H5 room wondering why Melody wasn't in class today. Nobody peeked their head in the door to see if I was absent or sick or having a convulsion in the middle of the floor. Nobody seemed to notice at all. The end of chapter 18. I'll be back soon with chapter 19. I hope you're enjoying our story Out of My Mind by Sharon Draper. I'll see you soon, friends. Peace, love, books. Miss you all lots.